My name is T. Willard Fair. The T stands for Talmadge. I lived in Winston-Salem. I was the last of 8 children born to John and Mary Lou Fair at a time when things were colored. It was a great life. I mean, being the last child, wow. Had my mother and father, had my sisters and brothers, had my cousins, nieces and nephews, you just name it. I grew up rich. To me, it was a normal upbringing. I didn't discover racism, for example, until I got to undergraduate school in 1958. Jesse Jackson started demonstrating at A&T College up in Greensboro, North Carolina. I was down in Charlotte, North Carolina. Oh, I went to graduate school. I met this girl from St. Petersburg, Florida. So love brought me down to Florida. I needed a job when we finished graduate school. I thought I was going into the Army. I flunked the entrance exam, couldn't go in because of physical ailments. So I went to the Urban League in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, my hometown. I said, I need a job. He said, let me see if I can get you a job. He called the Urban League here in Miami. They had a vacancy. His name was James Whitehead. He said, well, I'm going to the National League Conference in Louisville, but if I don't find somebody, I bring him down. I said, don't find nobody. Don't find nobody. I came down. You know the rest of the story. Miami was like any other southern town, colored over here, white over there, colored over here, white over there, colored over here, white over there, and Jews on Miami Beach. Well, I like to believe that we were part of the evolution. When I came here, it was moving from freedom. We were talking about set us free. Emancipation was there. We were talking about the Voters' Rights Act. We were talking about desegregation. We were talking about integration. So when I came here, Miami was just getting ready to change. And we were part of that change. I can say that we were the catalyst of that change. When I came here, there were no black store clerks, females in downtown stores. We placed the first female clerks in Bird Irons, Jordan Marsh, and other stores. When I came here at Florida Power and Light Company, a black person could dig the hole, but he couldn't climb the pole. We had a training program that allowed them to climb the pole. When I came here, the buildings trades was segregated. All the black people were just simply the laborers. There were no carpenters, there were no electricians, there were no plumbers. We changed that. We placed the first black female on a construction site. When I came here, you could only live in Black Grove, Coconut Grove, or Miami Gardens. We changed that. We placed the first black folks throughout this community. We wrote the fair housing legislation. So we were an instrument of change in this community. People didn't understand it. They thought that we were a maverick, but I really didn't care. Oh, I didn't march.
No?
No, marching is a sign of weakness. I had a plan. I marched to the boardroom. I positioned myself so that I would be attractive to those who were in the boardroom. I was consistent about what I wanted, so I made it very clear. I needed to find out who was in charge of the community. Once I found out who was in charge, then I needed to figure out how to develop a relationship where I had value to them. So I began to do that, and I integrated all of the major boards in this community. Once I've done that, then I could begin to impact on the decision makers of those boards. And once I've done that, then I could bring other folks with me. But all we said is that we want an opportunity to prove that we are human. And given that opportunity, that's what we did. So we never said, you gotta do this because they black. Y'all won't do this because y'all racist. No, we just said that I represent Liberty City. And I want to make sure that Liberty City residents are participant in whatever you're doing. Tell me what the qualifications are. If the other qualifications for everybody, then if I'm not ready, I'll go back and get ready. But if you have qualifications for me, then a different set of qualifications for the Cubans, and a different set of qualifications for the Jews. That's not right. But if it's uniform, we will play like everybody else. Segregation is segregation. Racism is racism. It got to be a greater challenge because we have the influx of the Cubans and now the influx of the Haitians. So we now got two other minority groups that are dealing with the issues, but it was not unique. You couldn't go downtown in Miami without going to a segregated lunch counter. That was in Atlanta, that was in Chicago, that was even in New York. So when the Cubans came, we were the first agency to have programs not only for black folks, but for Hispanic folks. I had a Northwest Street Academy for black folks. I had a Southwest Street Academy for Cuban folks. We were the first agency to embrace the Cubans into our board of directors. So you name it, we saw the Cubans coming as an ally for us and a partnership for us. So can you imagine? I'm in a meeting that, as a black person at the Greater Miami Chamber of Commerce, and Amanda Cardina is a big-time Cuban. Alessa Pantene Jr. is a big-time Cuban, and we now are together. We beat the white folks back. I saw it as an asset for us. 1 + 1 is 2. So now it's 2 minority groups and one big group called the white Anglo-Saxon Protestants. So our strength, our success has been on embracing everybody who was part of what we were trying to do. So the Cubans were on my board, and we had Cubans as part of all of our programs. And likewise with the Haitians. I even went so far as to adopt the Haitian family when they came. So I embrace other folks who may have similar kinds of experiences that we have in America. 65% of all the households in Liberty City were headed by women. The #1 budget item in their budget was rent. Abundant Rental Agency controlled all of the affordable housing in Liberty City. So I decided I was going to become an affordable housing developer for female heads of households. And today, that's what we is. And we own pretty close to 600 units of affordable housing. We're the second largest developer of affordable housing in Liberty City. I tell folks that I'm a black leader. All of my decisions have to be in the best interest of moving my community. So I don't care anything about Trump. All I know is that Trump had a luncheon. He invited me to Mar-a-Lago. It was $4,000 a person to go. I paid my money. I went to Mar-a-Lago. Ron DeSantis got elected, and I was put on his transition team, and I didn't support him. Had to be a connection between Ron DeSantis and Donald Trump. So you may question my behavior, but you can never question my motivation. Every move that I make is to move my community. When race is no longer an issue, when we conclude that it's left up to us, that you are in America, you can be what you want to be. It's based on the decisions that you make. My parents, with 8 children, I told you, 1939 I was born. Didn't know anything about racism until I was 18 years of age. My parents experienced it every day, but they never brought it home. My parents made us understand that you do what you gotta do to be what you want to be. So we never believed that we could not achieve, because our parents would not allow us to believe that. Success looks like when we all believe that it's left up to us to be what we want to be. That it's not our skin, it's the decisions that we make. That in spite of circumstances, you can be what you want to be.